The best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Joining us on the program right now, he covers BYU. He hosts Cougar Sports Saturday with Mitch Harper on KSL News Radio. He knows everything about BYU football. He's Matt Baiamonte. What's going on, Matt?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
The WAC, I think the WAC is actually merging, at least the football side, into some new league.
Oh.
Yeah, you saw Southern Utah and Utah Tech bail. Utah Valley's leaving to go to the Big West. So football and basketball programs are going elsewhere.
Well,
I don't know all the details or how
Western
it all shakes
Athletic
out,
Conference, we hardly knew ye.
We'll miss you.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It was a good run.
The WAC, it was a good run. It's just such an iconic conference name, and it's gone. It's kind of sad.
It's not an iconic conference. It's just an iconic conference name. All right, that's it. Matt, well, let's talk about it. The big question, obviously, that looms as camp starts up tomorrow. This is your Christmas, man. Everybody getting excited about how this thing is going to go. Media observations, we don't pretend like they're going to be more interesting than what we usually get, but at the same time, everybody is on quarterback watch at BYU, and it's not one, not two, but three different QBs that everybody thinks are going to be in that running. What's the reality of the quarterback talk down there in Provo?
Gosh, the reality is how quickly can you get this competition down to two, and then does someone separate themselves? Kalani, throughout his tenure, he's been very consistent about winning the job. And then also, if you do win that job, though, it's not usually revealed in advance. Like, I think the earliest they ever announced a starting quarterback competition winner was Jaron Hall. And that was after camp had concluded, when they were starting to transition into the season prep. That's when he was battling Baylor Romney and Jacob Conover. So I'll be personally shocked if they announce a starting quarterback before Portland State. But I think the most important thing is how quickly can you whittle this down to two? We talked with Max Hall last week on Cougar Sports Saturday, and I thought he brought up a good point, which is when he was starting, and I think a lot of great quarterbacks feel this way, you don't want to give the backup any reps. Every single rep is important for the starting quarterback to be ready and prepared for any given week. And I just don't think there's enough time to let this be a long, drawn-out three-man battle. I think relatively quickly you have to identify two things. Number one, is Bear Bachmeier ready to hang with the experienced guys? And if that's not apparent, obviously, within the first week, I wonder if they shift that a little bit more towards McKay and Trayson Bourget. And then also, can Trayson or McKay establish themselves rather quickly? Because in a perfect world, someone jumps off the page, they're ahead in the playbook. They're scoring touchdowns. They're keeping drive alive. They're keeping turnovers low. Those are all going to be critical components to whoever wins this battle, because that's what A-Rod has set as benchmarks in previous battles. And if someone wins, give them that job ASAP to get them the reps. But that just hasn't been the motto in the past during these battles. So I'm really interested to see how they sort through that, because 3 reps split evenly, that's not a lot of reps for any guy to get ready for this season.
Another thing that's interesting, Matt, is, they knew in spring that Jake Retzloff was the guy. And so when that's the case, the backups do get a lot of reps. And Bourget and McKay Hillstead battled out to try to win the backup job, but that was never settled. Did you get any indication that maybe it was, or who had the edge in spring that would give us a hint as to who might, wink, wink, be their guy, at least entering into fall camp starting tomorrow?
There was no indication that McKay or Trayson was ahead of the other at the end of spring. And quite frankly, I don't know how much quality work there was done in the spring, because you were missing so many players. And now you're asking these guys to be working with the ones when they got little to no reps with those people in the spring. That's why I think how they divide the reps and how quickly they trim down the battle is maybe the biggest storyline to me in the quarterback room. because Chase Roberts wasn't there in the spring. And the guy that got a lot of work is the wide receiver number 1. He plays in South Florida now. And there were other guys that they weren't sharing time with. LJ didn't get a lot of reps. And even at the offensive line position, Andrew Gentry wasn't healthy. Isaiah Jota was getting some work, and Bruce Mitchell was there, but I don't think he spent much time at all with McKay and Trace and Bohr. So there's a lot to work through. It was to answer your question directly, it was not evident that anyone had a lead on that backup job at the end of spring. But so it's quite frankly, this is unprecedented for BYU. All three of these dudes, they're starting from scratch. So it could go any way. I don't think there's much carryover from spring, and I don't think any guy has a lead as of today.
Because of that, could you see this bleeding into the season? Because we all know who they're opening with. It's a game where you can get away with playing 2 quarterbacks and giving them the reps and then hopefully getting some clarity after that. Or would that be a negative thing for the program?
I think that's a negative, personally. I think you want to have someone established by the Portland State game. Now, one thing I think would benefit BYU is, and again, to come back to Kalani, he's always been very much, you got to earn it every single week. And there's cases where that's rung true under Kalani. So I don't necessarily think that's coach speak, but whoever wins the job against Portland State and Stanford don't look good, go to the next guy. And if that guy doesn't look good, go to the third guy, because you're looking for someone to be the starting quarterback for the next 2 years, and you have to perform right out of the gate. So I don't think it will be a 2-quarterback situation against Portland State, but if no one clearly separates, you do have that luxury with the schedule to see game footage. You could go that route. I think that would not be the best move, but when you have their first 4 games, I include Colorado in here because I don't think Colorado is going to be that good. I think you have 4 very winnable games that you can get a little experimental before things really get dialed up in October.
Matt Baiamonte, host of Cougar Sports Saturday, covers the Cougs, and he and Mitch do a phenomenal job on those Saturdays. Let me ask you this, Matt. On the obviously, there's the hand-wringing part of like, oh boy, what's going to happen on the offensive side of things? But the defense is set to be able to really return a lot of great guys and have another really good season. It was the number 1 defense in the league last year. What are the question marks there? Obviously, the defensive backfield, replacing a guy like Jacob Robinson is tough, but what are the real fears there, or are there any, or is it the defense that that's going to carry this team for a minute while the offense tries to get figured out?
I don't think there's many storylines or question marks out of the defense. I think it's pretty set. There's 2 positions that I find interesting. The cornerback room isn't as interesting as you might think from my vantage point. You look at the absence of Jacob Robinson and you wonder who's going to fill that, but really there's 3 guys. 3 guys for 3 spots because someone's going to play some nickel too. So I feel like we know who those guys are going to be. It's going to be Maury Bamba. It's going to be Evan Johnson, who had a great year last year, and then Trey Alexander. He being the wild card, does he take just a huge jump from freshman to sophomore year? Now he's been in the program longer, spent a full offseason in the weightlifting program, conditioning program. Does he just take a huge jump and maybe vault to be a starting guy over an Evan Johnson or a Maury Bamba? That could happen, but those 3 are going to play. So I don't see much surprise at the cornerback position. The 2 positions to me that are going to be wildly interesting in camp is defensive end, because you have a couple of veteran guys, Logan Latui and Bodie Schoonover. Is it their time to shine, or do some of these young transfers push them for playing time? That being Hunter Clegg, the Utah transfer, Tassili Akana, the transfer from Texas. Do those guys bust in and maybe show up in a big way? That could happen. And then the safety room, I think, is interesting because you only play 2 at any given play defensively, but they have like 6 that could start. Like, it's incredibly deep, and they have a lot of guys with experience. So does Tanner Wall, Raider Demooney, are those your top 2 guys, or does a highly recruited Falatau Satawala, does he break through? Tommy Prassis, what kind of improvement does he make as a sophomore? And then we're Talon Alfrey. He's gotten praised in the offseason. He's been in the program for a long time. There's a lot of dudes at safety. How does that depth chart set at the safety position? But linebacker, they're set. I think defensive back, you know who's going to play. And defensive tackle, They got some great experience there. The defense is definitely going to have to carry them the first half of the season.
And on the offensive side of the ball, I think we look at the receiver position and, well, they got Chase Roberts. He might be one of the top 10 receivers in the country and think, they're good there. But they need more than one guy. Who else can step up in that position to help out this new quarterback?
The dude that I think is primed for a massive jump is Parker Kingston. Bessie Satake raved about him in the summer. He also raved about the whole group. He thinks this is the best wide receiver group that he's ever had. And he's been at BYU for a minute now. So that's saying a lot. He coached Puka Nacua and that group with Jaron Hall. And he thinks that this group is the deepest and most versatile group they have. Parker Kingston, I think, will take on a larger role. He won't just be the shifty slot guy who's in on trick plays. I think he'll get more snaps. And then opposite of Chase Roberts, I think JoJo Phillips is someone who had a good offseason. He's primed for a bigger role. And then after that, you've got a lot of highly recruited, high upside wide receivers. Which one of those dudes can break in? And then you got Stanford's transfer, Tiger Bachmeier, who is highly productive for the Cardinals as well. So they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of versatility. And I think that's the biggest key for success with this group is you've got big guys like Chase and JoJo. You got fast guys like Tiger and Parker. And then you've got dudes kind of in the middle like Cody Hagan, Tane Nakua, who are fast but also have size. Like, it's a really talented group. And I think whoever wins that quarterback job is going to be the one who probably meshes with that group the best because they can't be solely relying on the run. You can't be one-dimensional. They have to throw the football, and whoever wins that job has the luxury of having a really talented wide receiver group.
Matt Baiamonte. Matt, we look forward to you guys' updates from camp as they get going down there. We always appreciate all the info that you bring us, and thanks for hanging out with us today, man. And keep us updated if something wild happens. I'm expecting a text from you, and then we're going to get you on the horn, man.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
There you go.
Right, thanks,
Matt Baiamonte.
I'll get started tomorrow.